Good morning, everyone. Are we in session? Please raise hands.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Sudhanshu. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Chaliye, let's take our attendance. Please switch on your videos. Let me mark the attendance. Yes, Sudhanshu, Anubhuti, Pragati. What about the others? Thank you, all three of y'all. What about Nitish? What about Priyanka? What about Sonam? Are we not in session? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Sonam, I want you to switch on the video. Anubhuti and Sudhanshu, you can switch off. Nitish, every day you give me the same thing that you're traveling. Why don't you switch it on? Don't worry, even if you're traveling. I would like to see you, Nitish. Chaliye. Priyanka, Sonam. If you are in session, please participate as well. Switch on the videos. Yes, Nitish. Where were you yesterday? आधे session में गायब हो गए थे. You were not participating. Why was that? सिर्फ attendance के लिए आए हो session में? Go ahead, respond. Unmute. You have to tell me. There were a lot of questions asked yesterday जो आप respond नहीं कर रहे थे. Why? Just want to mark your attendance. Today you will participate? Okay. चलिए. Thank you, Nitish. Yes. Good morning, Sonam.
Yes, good morning, ma'am.
I don't see you. Yes, Sonam. Switch on the video, please.
I think there is some network issue.
Can you get that quickly resolved? Maybe you can switch off and log out and log in. Quickly come back. And then we will have that conversation. All right. What about Priyanka? Priyanka, you have come as an observer. Yesterday, you were there in the session, did not participate. Today also, I see very religiously, you have joined the session, but I don't get any response from you. Yes, Priyanka? What is the objective in attending the session from your side? No participation. Are you going to listen to the others? Yes? Can we unmute and speak, Priyanka? Priyanka still remaining silent. All right. Let us begin today's session. Yes, friends, what did we cover yesterday? We start the day with a recap. So, bataiye, what were the things that we covered in yesterday's session? Please raise hands, switch on your video and talk to us. What were the points that we covered in class yesterday? Wonderful. Wonderful to see those hands, Pragati, Sudhanshu, and Anubhuti. Yes, let's start with Pragati. Some points that we covered in session yesterday.
Hello, ma'am. Very good morning.
Good morning, Pragati.
As today's recap was, first of all, you tell us about introduction of Axis Bank, then PBR roles and ask various questions about such as uh, if you take job at any part of India or uh, tell about flexibility of job, how to communicate people, and how to solve their problems,
Hmm. Okay.
and also tell about HNI.
Hmm. All right. So let's talk about one or two points at a time. What do you remember about Axis Bank discussions? Do you remember what the core values at Axis Bank are? Any idea?
Uh, I remember the branches. That 4,758 branches, 10,990 ATMs,
Hmm.
and INR value something
The
11 lakh.
balance sheet. Okay. Okay.
Huh, balance sheet value.
That's it.
It's
You forgot
yes,
about the
ma'am.
core values of the bank, the values that every
Values.
employee at Axis Bank has to follow. Okay. All right. Thank you, Pragati. Let's try with Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, what is it that you recollect from yesterday's session?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Sudhanshu.
Uh, we have discussed about, ma'am, Axis Bank, vision of the Axis Bank, a
Hmm.
PBRM profile,
Hmm.
relationship manager, a day of the relationship manager, and
Hmm.
some interview-based questions, ma'am.
Okay, so let's talk about the core values. That is what I'm wanting to find out from all of you all.
That was, ma'am, customer centricity,
Okay.
ethics,
Hmm.
transparency,
Hmm.
teamwork, and ownership.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else that you would want to contribute or say?
Yes, ma'am. That the main motive of the Axis Bank is the customer's comfortability. Uh, they always
Customers,
think comfort, ma'am.
customers comfort. Okay.
Uh, they wanted that the staff to be ethical. The things should be clear between the staff and the customers.
Okay.
That's it, ma'am.
So rather than customer comfort, the better word in this case would be customer centricity. Right. So today, when I talk about customers' comfort or any other needs and requirements of the customer centricity is a better word to be used, right? Because it covers everything. Customers' comfort makes only very means it has a very limited scope. Let's use better words so that it covers all that we want to talk about. All right. Thank you, Sudhanshu. Let's see if Anubhuti has something to say. Yes, Anubhuti.
Good morning,
Anubhuti,
ma'am.
good morning. Tell me
Yes.
something. What would be the role? Sudhanshu, please switch off. What would be the role of a relationship manager? What is the core function of a relationship manager?
Ma'am, relationship manager are the initiators of the business
Okay, very good.
and to cross and functionals consultants to consultants to their clients.
Okay, they act as financial consultants to their clients. Okay, what
Yes.
are the four main functions that we spoke about yesterday? What a relationship manager should do? What is the expectation of the bank?
So,
Right? No? Let's check with Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, do you recall what were the core functions of the relationship manager? Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Anubhuti. Go ahead.
Then the main motive of the relationship manager is to acquire new customers,
Yes.
and engage with old customers, to build trust and relationship between them,
Hmm.
and to do cross sell,
Hmm.
to solve the queries of the customer,
Hmm.
and to acquire the family accounts.
Well,
Capture,
uh,
capture.
yeah, all points very valid and correct. But like I said, I would want you to use the word so that it makes sense. And in the sense, it covers everything. You don't miss out on anything. So acquisition is one important role. Enhancement
Acquire,
of the,
retain,
yeah,
ma'am.
acquire, enhance,
Re-
deepen, retain. Right? Remember
yes, ma'am.
these keywords, the buzzwords, and then of course you can explain each of these points a little bit in brief, but make sure you capture these four words: acquisition, enhancing the business, existing business, deepen the relationship with the customer, and making sure that we hold on to the customers in the form of retention. Yeah, so that would be the core of this. Thank you, Sudhanshu. So we have to remember that the profile is a sales profile which goes hand in hand with service as well, right? So today one can't exist without the other. Sales and service going hand in hand, and that is the same expectation from the relationship manager also. The relationship manager would be given a set profile of customers, the mapped book that we talked about yesterday. We also touched upon the map book concept. So I need to manage the portfolio of customers that has been assigned to me. At the same time, the bank is also expecting me to source such quality accounts for the bank, and that is where acquisition comes in. So acquisition, enhancing the existing books, making sure that we have a good relationship, a long-term mutually beneficial relationship with the customer, and in the end also making sure that the customer is always happy and satisfied with the bank and the relationship manager by attending to his complaints, his queries, grievances, right? And we want to ensure customer loyalty, right? We would want to retain all the customers of the bank, and we don't want to lose them out for reasons, which can be easily controlled, right? So these were some of the things that we spoke about in yesterday's session. Apart from that, we also looked into how a typical day of an RM would be in the bank, what would be the hierarchy of the priority channel, and so on. Right? We also looked at some questions, mock interview questions were done, practiced. Again, I have people in session, and like I said, apart from the three who seem to be contributing, the others remaining silent, I don't know how much of is it going to help you. All right, so let's look at what is in store today. Today, I would want to, in fact, I would want to focus specifically on grooming and interview etiquettes, right? Today, understand the kind of customers that we will be meeting. We will be meeting customers who are well established, well known, recognized in society, and we need to conduct ourselves in a manner which looks professional. That is the minimum expected from us, right? We are meeting quality customers, we are meeting potential customers, we are meeting the cream of Axis Bank customers. So when I'm meeting these kind of customers, I also need to conduct myself with a lot of grace, with a lot of humility, right? So I need to be polite, I need to be humble when I'm speaking to customers. These are customers, like I said, coming from different professions, different walks of life, right? Some could be doctors, some could be business people, some could be chartered accountants and lawyers, some could be professionals, right? So I, as an RM, should be in a position to carry on a conversation with every kind of customer that I come across. What is important to note is their business is important to us, right? As a customer, they have a lot of options. But for me, it is very important that I am able to source the business of the customer. And if the customer is an existing customer, I continue to give them good service, right? Now, that's the reason grooming plays a very important role. When the customer sees the RM in front of him or her, what is the impression that the customer has about the person, about the RM? This becomes critical. So if you're not well dressed, the HNI customer may not feel interested in speaking to you. He may or may not give you the time for a meeting, or invite you home for a detailed discussion. Now these are things which will affect my work. which will affect the business that I do. So that's why the external appearance is very important. Now, when I say external appearance, it doesn't mean that I have to wear costly clothes and I have to be, dressed like a model or something like that. No, I just need to appear professional. I just need to look the part of a smart banking executive, right? That is all that we are looking for. You look polished, you look smart, so that people feel nice to see you, people want to speak to you, people want to hear your thoughts and opinion. Why? Because you come across as someone who seems to be knowledgeable, who looks and sounds intelligent, dresses the part of a successful relationship manager, right? You are representing not only yourself, but you are also representing the brand, the leading brand, the leading private sector bank like Axis, right? So today, when I say that I come from Axis and I'm not dressed properly, people will immediately wonder. I mean, I'm not sure. Customers will have that doubt. Is he or she actually from Axis Bank? Or, maybe I don't think Axis Bank would employ such a person who doesn't even know how to carry himself or herself. That's why grooming plays a very important role, because it is the visual that I see of the individual in front of me. Let's spend a little time on this, right? So the first impression. First impressions, as per the dictionary, what does it say? First impression is an idea, feeling, or opinion about something or someone, especially formed without conscious thought or on the basis of very little evidence, right? At the first glance, when I see you, what is the first thing that comes to mind, right? How do I think, or what do I feel about you, right? How is it when the interviewer sees you for the first time? Immediately there's some thought process which might be going on through their minds. Maybe it's a good candidate, maybe the candidate looks smart, maybe he or she is sharply dressed, right? Look, coming across very polished. Right now I have yet to speak to you, but this is just an impression that I am feeling, right? And that is the visual impact that we are talking about. Today, if you can convince, or if you can have that advantage in the interview, it works for you, right? So the moment the interviewer sees you, he finds, okay, fine, this seems very positive. The candidate is looking smart, the candidate is looking well dressed, right? Seems to be a candidate that I can put in front of a HNI customer. Now, that is the first feeling that I'm getting just by having a glance of you, looking at you for less than a minute, right? I've not even started speaking to you, but that is the visual perception that I have, and that is the premise that I have created in my mind. Now, once I start speaking to you, that is the time a lot of clarity comes in. But before that, having a presence which is positive is always going to work in your favor, be it in situations like an interview, or for that matter, in real interactions with your customers. So that why you need to focus on first impressions. Today, when we say first impressions can be positive or negative, right? Sometimes we look at someone and we feel very nice and we want to speak to him or her. We want to get to know the person. And other times we feel, oh, I am not interested in looking at this person or speaking to him or her. Again, there's no justification or there's no conscious reason for it, but that's what that's what you're feeling, right? And that's why we say you need to be careful about what is being projected out there for your in terms of customers, or for that matter the interview panel. You need to be conscious about your first impressions. A smile, right? Even if I don't say anything, but the moment I have a smile on my face, I come across as a very pleasant personality. I come across as someone who's very warm and inviting, right? Someone that I can have a conversation with. But the moment that smile is missing, people may consider that, oh, what a snob, right? Someone who is so closed off. Maybe I don't want to have that conversation. The vibes are not open or friendly. Now, these are things that you would want to focus on. Having a small little smile on your face can actually change the entire scenario in terms of interpersonal interactions. So these are small things that you can have today, especially the role of a relationship manager, which requires you to interact with so many customers, right? Not only people, customers, external customers, but also from within your organization. Once you're a part of Team Access, you will be interacting with your colleagues, your supervisors. We would want, like I said yesterday, one of the core values of Axis Bank is teamwork. And I would want to have pleasant, happy people in the team, right? Who would want to have someone who is closed off, who is not very friendly, not giving the right vibes, right? So that is the reason why we are saying first impressions are important. All right. Certain body language tips is what we are highlighting here. Starting with a smile, we already spoke about how smile can make a very positive impression about you. Interviews at times can be very stressful for candidates, right? Because maybe you're under pressure, but still manage to have that smile, a small smile, right? So I don't want you to be grinning or showing all your teeth. No, but at least there's that warm friendly vibe that is coming from you because you have that smile. It puts you also at comfort, right? Today, when it eases our anxiety levels as well when I am comfortable. Handshakes, as in when you meet the customers, make sure that you extend your hand for a handshake. Again, looks very professional as long as you have a firm handshake, a warm eye contact. Here in eye contact, especially in virtual interviews, I would want you to look into the lens of the camera, right? Whichever device you are using for the interview purpose. Sometimes what happens is the device is there in front of you, but we are looking all across the place, right? I'm looking here, I'm looking there, but I'm not looking into the lens. So it doesn't give off the right, signals, so to say. So any kind of virtual interaction, we would want it to replicate the same dynamics as we would have a across the table interaction, right? Agar hum face to face बैठे होते, I would be looking at you, right? So have that same interaction even in the virtual mode. So when I look into the lens of the camera, the other person who's listening to me feels that you are talking to me, right? Because I get that vibe that you're looking into the camera and talking to me. But when I look here, there, and then speak, then it doesn't come across. That connect never happens. The connect never gets established. So whether in physical meetings, real life meetings, or in virtual meetings like this, try to have eye contact. Eye contact is very important because it comes across as someone who's willing to meet, people who lack confidence, people who do not have the right answers, or who are lying, generally are not in a position to maintain eye contact, right? So if you want to come across as more trustworthy, if you want to come across someone as who has the confidence, please always look into the camera and speak, right? Acknowledging others. This can be because today in interviews, there could be multiple people in the panel. Like I said, not necessarily one. It could be someone, a business leader could be there, an HR person can be there. And all of them will step in and ask questions from time to time, right? And this is something that you would need to understand, that be prepared for questions. And all kinds of questions, more or less, might come. Those which test your personality, those which test your knowledge, those which test your awareness about the bank, about the role. So you need to be prepared for that. So today, when I have people, always thank them, greet them. I like the fact that, when we start our meetings, we always have a smile. We thank the interviewer for the opportunity of this interaction, right? In your conversations, let the panel know that you're very keen to join the bank. You are very keen to looking forward to accepting this particular profile, right? And you are willing to take whatever it is required to learn, right? So no one has the skill sets. We are wanting to learn and we will give it our best. So that should be the body language. That should be the words that you speak in the interview. That you are excited, you are looking forward, you are keen to do it, and you will be welcoming all the challenges and all that. And I'm ready to, handle them. So when I hear those kind of responses from the candidates, interviewers are generally, okay, fine, maybe I can think of this candidate as a potential RM. Lean forward while you're talking. Generally, when we are interested and when we are, in the conversation, we are by default tending to lean forward, right? So we tend to lean forward, and that is an indication that you are interested, you are involved. Being neutral, sometimes what happens is the kind of questions that get asked can be about your opinion, your perspective, take a stand, right? So in these cases, when we are not very sure, it's always better to be neutral, right? Do not take extreme opinions, right? Always try to have a very balanced view, and that is what we are trying here. Try and be neutral, try and be unbiased in your judgment, right? So this is what it is. So those were a few tips on body language. Let's look at what is the dress code that is expected from men and women in the interviews. All of us have visited a bank. All of us have visited a bank. Anybody who has visited Axis Bank, please raise hands from this session. Anybody who has visited Axis Bank? No one? All right. See, today, okay, Sudhanshu, Nitish have raised their hands. Great, nice. See, all of us, like I said, it is not the cost of the clothes that you're wearing that is important. You should come across looking like a banker, right? That is the agenda here. So make sure that whatever you dress on the day of the interview goes with your personality, goes with your profile. That is something that we are hoping. So today, whatever, let's say it's an interview, so obviously the dress code will be formal. So let's start with discussions for men first. The dress code will be formal for interviews, which means that you will have, as the image depicts, a full shirt, a tie, trousers. That is the look that we are expecting you to have when you come forward for the interview. Now, when I say, the dress code is formal and this is what you're supposed to wear, also take a little bit of care in terms of what are the colors that you wear of the shirt, what are the kind of prints, right? So as far as possible, try and avoid any kind of loud, bold, fluorescent colors of your shirts. Your colors should be very pastel, very light, subtle colors. There should not be any prints. So the more plain the shirt is, the better it is, right? Avoid any kind of checks and those kind of prints for the interview. The tie should complement the shirt, right? So the color of the shirt also should complement your skin. So understand what looks good on you, right? Where you look smart, which color will brings out the best of you, right? So have a little bit of pay a little bit of attention there. The colors that you are wearing for the tie and the shirt should not be conflicting, right? So a little bit of there. The fit has to be proper. So make sure your clothes are ironed and the fit is appropriate so that you come across looking smart in the interview. The hair we have highlighted here. Hair should be well trimmed, right? Hair sticking out or not properly groomed does not give a good image. Interview happens at any time during the day, right? So right from 10 in the morning till about 5, the interviews generally get conducted. So whenever your slot is there, prepare yourself accordingly and then sit for the interview. Mustache and beard. Please make sure that if you are, having a mustache and beard, it needs to be well trimmed, right? It needs to be well groomed because otherwise it comes across looking shabby. It comes across looking very not properly well maintained. And that again is not something, because remember, you are meeting that set of customers if selected, right? If you're selected for the role, I need to place you in front of my premium customers. And for that, the image is very, very important, right? You will be visiting people in their corporate offices, you will be visiting doctors in their clinics and in their homes. Now, if a person is looking shabby and not properly groomed, you might not even be invited, right? And that is something that we would not want the relationship managers to be. Similarly, like I said, you are representing brand access. I can't have customers questioning that. I mean, is this the quality of the staff that you have hired who can't even dress properly, right? Hands and feet. So while it's a virtual interview and you might not be, visible in terms of, only half your body is visible, but still for the purpose of understanding, make sure that your hands are well manicured, the lengths of the fingernails are appropriate. Sometimes we have, those weird, one nail is extra long and all that looks very bad and awkward. So please try and take care of that. Any kind of accessories, like I said, since it's formals, most of it, the neck chain and all would not be visible. But again, please make sure that these are things that you can avoid the chains, avoid the earrings, watches if you're wearing, make it sure that they are simple and conservative, so on and so forth. So that is the basic that we are expecting in terms of grooming. 10 minutes or 15 minutes at max is the interview. And this much, if you can do it properly and come across looking nice and smart, I think that is agenda achieved, right? The essence is we look professional, right? The context is not to look fashionable. The essence is to look professional, and you come across as someone that I would be keen to hear and speak to or meet. For the women, again, the pictures elaborating what is the kind of dress code that you can wear for an interview. It can be Indian wear, it can be formal wear, Western wear. Either way is acceptable. Whatever is it that you're wearing, make sure it is well fit, right? So it fits your body type. You look smart, right? The colors complement you. So the same rules that apply for men apply for women as well. The agenda here again is to look presentable and professional and not fashionable, right? So that is the point that we are trying to have. The dress code for women also highlighted in very simple ways. Make sure your hair is combed and tied neatly. The interviewer gets to see you, right? See your face. Sometimes when the hair is open and all, we are constantly setting our hair, or it's falling on your faces, right? So the interviewer doesn't get to see you. Half the face is partly covered with your hair and stuff like that. So tie your hair up, let the interviewer see your face, let the interviewer get to see your expressions. What is it that you are saying? How is it that you are saying, right? And tied up hair, well combed hair always gives out a better image. Elegance is what we are hoping that we would see from the ladies, right? Makeup, tone it down, right? We don't want loud makeup. We want subtle makeup. If you're wearing a little bit of makeup is always preferable, gives you nice, positive look. Hands and feet, again, feet will not be visible, at least in the virtual interview, but hands sometimes do get seen. So if you are in the habit of wearing nail polish and all, please make sure that these are subtle colors. Now, since it's a job interview and you will be going forward as a relationship manager, we would want you to also start acting and behaving like one, right? Someone who is responsible. So we are out of college. So try and you avoid those funky colors and make sure your hands are well manicured and the colors very nice and elegant. Accessories, yes, we as women wear a lot of accessories, but like I said, in the formal setting, in the corporate setting, the smaller the accessory, the better it is, right? So today, if I have to talk about earrings, I would want to wear small studs rather than those dangling earrings, so to say. Rings, one or two rings on your fingers. Don't go overboard with bangles and necklaces and chains, right? A single simple chain, that is what we are saying. The less is better, right? That is the dress code that we are expecting from women. Now, having said all this, what is important is at any point in time, try and look pleasant. Try and look neat, right? Someone who has paid attention to himself or herself. When I come across as properly groomed, it shows that I have taken trouble, I have taken pains to, compose myself well, present myself well. And that also adds to your final scores, because I also, the interviewer is scoring on each of those different parameters. So today, if you are scoring well on grooming, that is good. For example, today I have a dress code for men that I have said. अपने formal shirt पहन लिया, tie पहन ली. You can always enhance this image by adding a blazer, right? It brings across that personality a little more. आपके grooming में add हो जाता है if you are wearing a blazer or a coat. But then it has to be something that is well fit, that complements you and the attire that you're wearing. Just because, let's say I said that, wear a blazer, if you wear anything which is oversized or maybe it is tight, it will not help you, right? So any little bit that you can do which enhances your personality is welcome, but don't go overboard, right? Any questions on grooming anybody has? Any doubts, anything that you would want to clarify? Yes?
No, ma'am.
Okay? All right.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Let's also look at a few important etiquettes in terms of virtual interviews, right? Today, one of the first things is the camera angle, right? I would request everyone to switch on your video. Please switch on your video. Let's have a look at the camera. Okay. Just the two of us. What about the others? Pragati, Sonam. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I think this is fairly okay where people are coming across. So as you can see from others, we occupy the major part of our screen, right? So today when I'm looking at everyone, clarity, अनुभूति मैंने आपको कल भी बोला था, there's a little bit of clarity, less clarity. I don't know whether it's a network issue or what, but otherwise I'm not able to see you a little bit properly. Others are pretty okay, right? Second, when we are sitting in front for an interview, we would want to look straight. Don't look down because if the camera is slightly lower. तो अगर आप आपके मोबाइल से कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं या if it is a laptop that you are using, make sure you elevate the mobile or the device so that the lens is at eye level. थोड़ा ऊपर, because currently Nitish is looking down. When Nitish is not looking straight, Nitish is looking down because the device is niche. So try and avoid that, right? When you are speaking or when you're talking to the interviewer, it has to be at eye level. So make sure that you always elevate it. कोई books के ऊपर रख दो, कोई table के ऊपर दो तीन चीजें रखो और उसके ऊपर रखोगे तो वो height automatically बढ़ जाएगी and you will have a face-to-face connect. Right? The agenda here is I look into the eyes of the other person as if I am sitting across the table. So that is the purpose here. So make sure that you are at eye level rather than looking down. Okay. Second, when it comes, thank you everyone. Thank you. So this is what is the purpose where I am very clearly indicating that the camera has to be at eye level. How much of me should be visible? The interviewer should be able to see what I have worn as well. So you have seen the three pictures there. The third picture, it's too close. I don't even get to know what you are wearing, right? So I don't get to judge that. So you need to be a little away from the camera, and at the same time, you need to be at a distance where I can still manage to understand what your expressions are, right? Otherwise, it becomes too far. Like in the first image, you're sitting in front of the camera, but you're too far. So I might not be able to gauge your expressions. Your responses may not be very clear to me. So sit at a distance that is comfortable. हम सभी को दिखता है हम कितने दिख रहे हैं हमारे कैमरा में. So make sure you pay attention to that as well. Adjust your chair position. Like I said, posture is important. How you sit. ऐसे बैठे हो, sit straight. As long as your body is straight, shoulders nice and straight, your back is straight, it comes across as a better image about yourself, right? You look more confident when you're sitting like that. So be a little bit of, take a little bit of care in terms of your posture. Sometimes the chairs can have wheels and we tend to keep rolling, right? So try and not do that. Be stationary, at least for the time that the interview is being conducted. Lighting is again another issue, right? Sometimes the light is not adequate. You might be sitting in a corner of a room or a place where there might not be sufficient lighting. So ensure that you have added lights, right? So agar aapko lag raha hai ki screen mein the more light there is in the room, the better is the image that is seen on camera. So for the time the interview is being conducted, if you feel the light is not adequate, switch on the lights, right? It could be day, but still go ahead and switch on the lights because you tend to look nice and smarter and brighter when there is good lighting around you. But having said that, please don't do a spotlight kind of situation here where there is too much light on your face, right? That too bright light also is not appropriate. So today you need to make sure that how much of you, I need to see the candidate clearly, and that's the reason the requirement for proper lighting, right? Ensure that the light is not coming from behind. That is also important. Sometimes, like you see in the second image, the bottom second, the light is coming from behind. I am sitting with my back to a window, right? So there is a lot of light coming in, which is somehow overshadowing the face. Or in the first case, I'm sitting in a dark room, which again is not appropriate. So have appropriate lighting so that you are properly and clearly visible to your panel. Let's talk about a background check. All of us taking interviews from different locations, and sometimes the backgrounds are not appropriate. Maybe it is a house, there are people around, right? So we would want to take special care to see that, you know, the interviewer is not disturbed or his or her attention does not go to things which are not required, right? So any kind of background which has clutter needs to be avoided. Ideally, the simplest way is to find a wall and sit against a wall, right? So that means the interviewer's focus will only be on you and not on things that are around you, behind you, right? Sometimes we have people walking around, we have conversations happening, there could be a TV running. So for the time of the interview, make sure that you are in a noise-free zone, right? And you are able to speak and listen very, very clearly to what is being said in the interview. We would want you to make sure that at any point in time, if you're having a problem in the background or finding such a place in the house, then you have the background blur feature in MS Teams. आपकी जो interview होगी will happen in MS Teams, and at any point in time, if you want to change the background, you can always blur it, or you can choose a background of your choice using the background feature of MS Teams. So please try and use that as well, right? It comes across very easy, बहुत ही simple है. All you need to do is click on actions, and actions में आपको tab मिलेगा apply background effects, and वो आप choose कर सकते हैं. So that is something which can be very easily done. In case if you're finding it difficult to find a place where, which can give you a more professional or a better background, right? So keep the background free of any kind of clutter, distracting items, right? Don't keep personal things or, because that is not the purpose. I want to speak to the candidate. And if I am seeing too many things around, my attention by default goes here and there rather than focusing on what the candidate is saying. So please focus on that. because it's a virtual interview, there could also be times when we come across with some kind of challenges, right? Like it could be a network issue, it could be a Wi-Fi issue, right? It could be that the interviewer is not able to hear you, or there is some fluctuations there, right? So all these things can happen, uh, and don't get upset or don't get worried if something like that happens, right? One of the first ways to handle all these things is prepare a few minutes in advance, right? Now, if you have a time of 11 o'clock and if you are trying to log in at 11, all these things settling down will take a little bit of time, and you're losing out on crucial interview minutes because you have joined in only at that right time. So join a few minutes early, let the network settle down, you also adjust yourself, be calm, be composed, and then enter the interview room, right? That is how we would want you to do. Last minute, generally things tend to go wrong. You are in a hurry, things, and the interview starts off on a note wherein you are, not comfortable, or you are not happy, right? Another important thing people generally miss out is charging, right? Sometimes we do so much preparation in terms of preparing for the questions, we forget the basics like charging our devices. So make sure whichever device that you want to use, be it a mobile, be it a laptop, have it sufficiently charged. One advice that I would like to give all of you all is always have a backup device also. Sometimes what happens is, because it's at the end of the day gadgets and technology, it can go wrong, or things happen at the last minute, unforeseen things. So to avoid that, to counter that, always have a backup device. So today that it's a meeting that will happen in Teams. तो आपके लैपटॉप में तो टीम्स आपने डाउनलोड कर दिया है, मोबाइल में भी डाउनलोड कर दो, राइट? मीटिंग रेफरेंस डिटेल्स आप रख लो अपने पास, सो दैट in case one device is giving you a problem, immediately you can switch to the next device and start. Otherwise, what happens is, by the time you download Teams, you enter the meeting details, you have again lost out on time, right? So you can quickly jump from one to the other in case of an issue, and your meeting can still be conducted seamlessly. So that is one suggestion that I can say. So do not get worried if there are any problems in terms of technical challenges, but at least be prepared, right? Let us not be unprepared in such situations. That is something that we can or look at. Whatever be the status or whatever be the result of the interview, don't get too worked up, right? Whatever has to happen will happen. Itna aap stress mat lo. We need to understand that you have put in your best, and we will, things should happen. Things would materialize. Don't get worried about it. So that is another thing that I would want you to say, that I would want to highlight, that keep yourself calm at all given points in time, right? Nothing to worry. Interview questions are not so difficult. They are wanting to hear your opinion. They just want you to express yourself clearly. And that is what the agenda is all about. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Anyone? All good?
No, ma'am.
Yeah? All right. So here we have a few questions that we have seen happen in interviews, and I would want you to keep a note of it and make a note of it and see if you can prepare as per these questions as well. These are sample questions. Please understand, the interviewer can pick and choose any question as per his choice. These are some of the questions that we have seen come up in the previous interviews, and preparing for these questions would be an added advantage for each one of you all. So primarily, like I said, interviewers ask questions across different categories, right? About yourself, about the bank, about the role, about the markets, about banking, right? So these are some sample questions that we have curated for you. Please make a note of it. Yeah. Some questions, generally, the initial questions in every interview will be those that are focused on the candidate, So these are the questions on self. Yeah. Let us begin. Anybody who is ready for some interview questions, some mock interviews? Sonam, can we start with you? Is Sonam around? No? Priyanka, would you like to participate? No? Yes, go ahead. Any confusion, any queries, and any questions, let me know. Yes, Anubhuti. Yeah.
Ma'am, you do not have any finance knowledge. So how I tell him I don't have any finance knowledge?
That is fine. Like I said, no technical questions will be asked. Very general knowledge questions will be asked. Anubhuti, you don't have to worry. When we talk about interview questions, these would be very basic interview questions, which generally more or less everybody knows. Whether you are from a finance background or not is immaterial, because we are inviting candidates from all backgrounds, right? So, like I said yesterday, also, we don't have to get stressed because I don't have work experience, or because I don't come from commerce background, or I don't have adequate finance ka knowledge. That is fine. But what is it that you are doing to keep yourself aware? Right? Like I said, current affairs may, are we reading up news? Are we reading up on the banking this? It is an industry that you say you are keen to join, right? When I am appearing for an interview, it is because I want to join this industry. I want to join the bank. So I need to catch up on my reading. Whatever little is available, whatever best that I can learn up, learn. Because at the end of the day, interview mein kya hota hai, that is so nobody knows, right? That only on that day we will come to know what are the kind of questions that get asked. But not too many technical questions, or too technical questions are never asked at this level. This is an entry level interview just to see whether I can train you, just to see whether the candidate has the potential, just to know that, how much is the awareness of this particular candidate. So today, when I talk to you or ask you questions about banking and all, very basic questions will be asked.
And ma'am,
Yeah.
how interviewer ask a situation based question?
A situation based question, like I said, it could be that how will you, for example, if you are posted in a particular location, how will you do sales, or how is it that will you convince another person? So today, if I ask you, why should I take insurance?
Why you take
Very simple. Why should I take insurance? Anubhuti?
because I make a career in bank.
You are a relationship manager. I am a customer. You have come to me and you are recommending an insurance. Why should I take an insurance? What is the advantage? How will an insurance help me?
I don't know.
What is insurance? Chalo, let's start with that. What is insurance?
I don't.
We need to catch up on reading, because these are basic product knowledge questions that might get asked, Anubhuti. Right? It is not a question that is being asked because you are from a particular background. No, this is general. सभी को पता होना चाहिए बैंक अकाउंट क्या है, सभी को पता होना चाहिए what are the different types of products that are sold in a bank, right? आपके भी कहीं पे बैंक अकाउंट होगा, in any bank, not necessarily a private sector bank. So whichever bank, you should know what they do in a bank, what are the products that they sell. And one of the core products that banks sell in to customers is, apart from their savings account, current account, deposits and all, they also sell mutual funds. So you should know what mutual fund is, you should know what insurance is. So now if a candidate is saying that I want to become a relationship manager, I want to join a bank, but I don't know what the bank does, thoda difficult hoga na. I will want to have a candidate who knows at least little bit, right? I am not asking you to be an expert, but you should at least be able to say a line or two why insurance, right? So insurance, again, yesterday we were discussing, I don't know, you were not there, Anubhuti. We talked about life insurance, we talked about general insurance, how they are different from each other, kitne sare insurance products hain hamare paas, how they provide protection, how they cover the risk of the person, right? So today, if I have insurance, my risk is covered. I am protected. If I have health insurance, I don't have to spend money. I will the company that I have taken insurance from will take care of my expenses, right? Now this becomes very important. For example, a life insurance tomorrow. Why do people buy life insurance? So that once they are no longer there, if something happens to them, their family will be given the amount of life insurance that the person has taken. So these are general awareness questions that might come up, Anubhuti, and I would want you to a little bit of थोड़ा आपको brush up करना पड़ेगा. Right? On day one also, we talked about all these factors when we talked about basics of banking, when we talked about overview of the BFSI industry, right? You were there on that day also. We saw why we have to know about all these things, because these are things that we will be selling from our branches. These are things that we will be discussing with our customers. So you should know. Yeah? Any other question?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Others? Anyone? Please raise hands. All right, so there's a few questions on the bank that generally comes. So some sample questions about Axis Bank is what is highlighted here. What do you know about the bank? How many branches, right? Go with the latest figures. Like I said, what is the full form? What was the earlier name of Axis Bank, right? What is the share price? Basic awareness questions. And like I said, the more you read about Axis Bank, the better it is for you, right? You will be more comfortable in responding. You will have some idea about the bank, and the interviewer will always be very happy and impressed when a candidate comes prepared with knowledge, right? About the bank, about the role, because there is clarity of thought in the individual that what he or she wants, what he or she is working towards. Yeah. Any questions on the bank? Any doubts here? Are you able to follow all the questions?
Ma'am, one question is that in right hand corner there is last second. What is the share price of Axis Bank in share market? So we have to test that day share price or generally share price.
Approximate आप बोल दो तो भी काफी है. At least वो awareness बता देता है कि you know what are the average share prices of Axis Bank. Yes, Sudhanshu.
Ma'am, difference between ICICI and Axis Bank, ma'am. Like,
Yeah.
ma'am, I have captured few things. Like, ma'am, Axis Bank was the first bank to start premium banking services. Uh,
Okay.
it was first to start in early 90s.
Hmm.
And ma'am, what more, ma'am, like we can say?
Again, that's what exactly we did in the mock interview yesterday as well. You need to understand the interview will always ask, why do you want to choose Axis Bank over and above ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank or any other bank, right? We are a leading bank, but we are still not the number one bank. So I need to know how keenly you are interested in joining a bank like Axis Bank. Are you aware? So you should be in a position to say what interests you or what draws you to Axis Bank. Maybe I think Sudhanshu, you only responded to this question to a day back now when the question was asked to you as to maybe you have friends and family people who are working in Axis Bank. There is a very common, there's a there's a very positive word of mouth for Axis Bank, or Axis Bank has won multiple awards, or there is a higher growth trajectory. Career growth prospects are very nice when I am working with Axis Bank, right? I am keen to join Axis Bank for these many reasons. So when I say I have an awareness that, okay, the reason there are many banks out there, but this is the reason why Axis Bank excites me, right? The program that is being offered, which is, matching with my sensibilities, I would want to take up that opportunity here, right? So different banks have their own strengths, and Axis Bank is something that I identify with, which I relate with, right? And small things like this help. Like, I've heard good things about Axis Bank, or I know of people who are working at Axis Bank and very happy, right? And I've heard of the innovative products that Axis Bank keeps introducing. And maybe you can talk about a few things, right? The awards that we have won, the success story of Axis Bank. All these things can maybe give you the reason why Axis Bank. Today, when you talk about any private sector bank, remember the differences are very minimal, so to say. Idhar udhar, a little bit of here and there. Otherwise, products more or less will be same across banks. What matters is the service. What matters is the culture. What matters are the values that the employees believe in, the ethics and principles that they follow, right? These things become very, very important. So today, when I look at the vision of the bank, when I look at the core values, when I hear about Axis Bank, when I read about Axis Bank, these are things that drive me or motivate me in favor of Axis Bank as compared to anybody else. Having said that, ICICI Bank is a equally good and strong bank, right? It is a leading bank again of the country. So nothing to say wrong or bad mouth Axis Bank, but my personal choice would be Axis Bank, right? So each person can have that. So that is what you can, maybe share it as an answer. Yeah. Any other? Yes. All good on the Axis Bank questions? Yes, no, please. Okay. Let me move on to the role related questions. The priority banking relationship manager role, right? This again, there will be a lot of focus on, they'll be very keen to know your responses to this question. What do you understand about the role? So make sure that you speak confidently and you show that awareness that you know what is it that a relationship manager does. Yes, Anubhuti, go ahead. What is the question?
Ma'am, difference between operational job and sales job.
Operations job is more or less a desk job, right? For example, if I'm sitting in the branch and a customer comes to me for transferring funds from one account to the other, people you will have seen, koi bhi bank mein aap jaiye, there are a lot of people sitting at the counters, right? These people generally don't move out. They are always between the working hours of the branch, 9 to 4, 9 to 3, 9 to 1. जो भी है, they are sitting in that particular desk and attending to customers who are walking into the branch. That is an operational role where you handle operations, right? Purely more into service oriented, more into operations is what they will be doing. These will be people, for example, a cashier, right? The cashier is bound to his cubicle for the business hours of the day, right? He or she will be handling cash transactions for the day. A person who is at the account opening desk in the branch, right? So whenever customers are interested in coming for account opening, they will be going and meeting this executive who will help them with account opening. So it could be an account opening desk, it could be a cash desk, it could be someone where your transactions are being processed, the checks, the clearing, the funds transfers, the RTGS, NEFT, right? So these are operational roles. Operational roles are for people who are walking into the branch, right? And that is the kind of role that you have. Whereas a relationship manager role has a mix of both operations and sales. You are available at the branch in different pockets of time, right? As per the availability, as per your appointment, but you also need to move out, right? Is that understood, Anubhuti?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a lot of sales. So today, as an RM, what will be your profile? Sales or operations? अनुभूति आपका प्रोफाइल क्या होगा once you become a PBRM?
Ma'am, sales job.
Sales, right? But it is sales with service. So you need to be prepared for that, right? That I will have to move out. I might not be available in the branch the whole time. But whenever you are there in the branch, there might be customers, your customers who will come to you and you need to attend to their banking requirements.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Any other questions? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I want to ask that we have to spend most of the time in bank, or we have to do both. Like
It depends
like
upon
we.
your customers, Altaf. Today, I don't have any appointments for the day. Maybe I have a little more time to spend in the branch, right? Maybe I have 1 or 2 or 3 meetings for the day, but primarily I'm in the branch. So it will always be a mix of both. There would be appointments during the day, and you will also be available at the branch for the rest of the time.
And the senior will let us know that what we have to do today, like as you have discussed yesterday.
Senior Q, you are the relationship manager. You will decide what needs to be done today. No one is going to come and tell you, Altaf, कि today आपको ये करना है. You have been given a set of customers. You need to keep interacting with each of these customers, meeting with these customers, because unless you meet these customers, how are you going to meet your targets?
Okay, okay. So, ma'am, we will
Correct?
get a set of customers, right?
Yes. So a set of
Okay,
customers will be given to you, but if you don't, you need to acquire also on a monthly basis. So there are budgets for
okay,
acquisition also.
okay, ma'am. Okay, okay.
Okay. And a few sample questions we have highlighted here with respect to the financial sector. Again, like I said, nothing too complicated will come. This again these many detailed questions I have not come across, but we just want to put it across there. A little bit of share market information, have it ready, because people tend to ask questions. A lot of our HNI customers invest in stocks, invest in mutual funds. So what is a mutual fund? What are stocks? What is NFT? What is CRR, SLR, cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, the difference between Nifty, Sensex, what is a mutual fund? These are things that we can prepare for. These are things that you would want to catch up on, right? Remember, the technical questions can always be learned, can always be responded. What they are checking is the awareness, how aware you are in terms of, let's say, the markets around you, the profile that you are getting into. These are things that we are interested in, right? So that is something that you can look into. So the regional rural banks, the cooperative banks, what are the different types of banks, right? Private sector bank, commercial banks, regional rural banks, some examples here and there, right? Difference between a savings and current account, who is the governor of RBI, right? The latest, I said, current affairs news also can come up as per the interviewer. So they might have some questions there, right? So these things are something that you can talk about. A little bit of, like I said, even if you don't know, it is okay as long as you have done well everywhere else, right? If nobody is perfect. So today, when I'm looking at an interview at a potential candidate, I see a lot of things. I'm observing a lot of things in that 10 minutes that I'm spending with the candidate. So there would be pluses and minuses with every candidate, right? Some candidates might be able to answer a few questions here, but maybe they might struggle with something else. And that combination and that differences will be there in every candidate. We want to pick the best. So we would want to select a candidate who is able to give maximum responses, who's confident, who has the right set of answers, right? The body language is perfect. The grooming is appropriate. So it is the whole package. Like I said, just because you don't have an answer to one particular question, or you struggled somewhere here or there, doesn't mean that the interview did not go off well. It is the whole thing that the interviewer is looking into. So come across as a little bit of a person who has some kind of knowledge, who is in a position to answer and give those basic responses, right? Catch up on reading, because somehow certain candidates, you need to work on your communication skills also, because I need to be speaking very clearly to the interviewer, and I should also be in a position to understand what the interview is being done. So that's why the focus on English. आप जब बैंक ज्वाइन करोगे, all your correspondence within the bank, the emails that you write to your customers, to your supervisors, will be in English, right? So you should be in a position to understand English very well. You should be in a position to speak in English also. But if the communication skill is a little weak, there's nothing to worry. We can always improve. These are some of the opportunities that all of you all are getting, where you are coming forward and starting to express yourself, right? When I say, when I speak, when I practice more, it is good. So in the interview also, try and make sure that you are using English as the language for response, right? At any point in time, if you are not understood the question, or if you're not clear, please ask the interviewer the meaning, or what is it, the clarification that you need before you start answering. At any point in time, if you get stuck, maybe yes, you can come to Hindi and आप अपना वो बता दो हिंदी में, अगर आपको इंग्लिश में दिक्कत हो रही है एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए, so you do that, but again shift back to English as quickly as possible. So that is what we would want you to do, because then it shows the interviewer that you will be in a position to handle customer responses and also understand the customer. At the same time, we talked about location. कहीं पे भी हम आपको डाल सकते हैं. Your location could be as per the requirement of the bank. So when a person or a candidate is reasonably okay or good in English, that also works as an advantage. Today, if a candidate doesn't know English, then it becomes very difficult. How will you write emails to your premium customers? right? You are at the end of the day representing Axis Bank, and I can't have an RM writing, not being able to write an email to a customer. So these are the small things that they are looking into. All right, so great. So let's take a pause here. Let's take a quick break, come back in about 15 minutes, and then we will conduct some mock interviews. All right, so let's do that. I would request candidates to actually participate in the mock interviews so that it can help you in your final interviews with Axis, which are going to happen anytime now. So it's about what, 11:30 now. So let's take a quick break and come back. And once we come back from the break,